What is up, everybody? My name is Jake with the Key Exchange Podcast. This is the very first episode of this podcast where I have embarked on a crazy adventure interviewing the top 1% of agents nationwide, picking their brains, trying to figure out what makes them tick, what makes them work, and have the work ethic that they have, and how we can try to replicate that ourselves as newer agents. We also have stuff in here for sellers and buyers, little snippets in there. So if you want to find them, you got to watch the whole episode um, to get a better idea. Yeah, without further ado, though, I have my very first guest here. I shot this probably about a month and a half ago with a gentleman named William Huffman, an awesome, awesome dude. Him and his wife run a real estate team out of Minnesota called the Good Life Group. So if you're moving out that way, or you are out that way and you come across this podcast, please give him a call or his wife, Sarah, a call because they are phenomenal, phenomenal people with a phenomenal story, as you will see. I know for me personally, this episode was very eye-opening in terms of even my own journey, right? Because I'm just over a year and a half into the business. And I originally met Will at a conference, a real estate conference in Traverse City almost 2 years ago. And I just remember his energy, his joy, the liveliness that he brought to the table in such a short amount of time. And it wasn't in front of a crowd of people. It was a one-on-one conversation. And just seeing that, I was like, man, it left a lasting impression, so much so that when I went on to this journey of this idea of like, man, I'd love to interview these agents, he was the first person that popped up in my mind of like, hey, let's get somebody on here that has that energy, has that joy, and has that mindset that I really want to bring to this channel. So I will say, first episode, nervous as all could be. Feel free to pick it apart if you want to. I have picked it apart a million and one times already myself, but I know personally for me, he has so many great points in here in terms of finding joy, what joy means, what success means, great life stories. I know for me, they were very relatable. And I'm sure for some of you guys watching, wherever you're at on your journey, whether it's real estate, entrepreneurship, whether you're a seller or buyer, just trying to figure out more things about real estate and the kind of behind the scene things. Um, he has some great things in here that are very relatable. I know if I had to pinpoint one of the key things that I enjoy out of this, um, it's going to be that joy does not come from your circumstance, right? And what I mean by that is he goes in, as you'll see in the episode, he goes in depth of his story and where he started, where he came from, and where he is now, and kind of the lessons that he's learned along the way, and really finding out that money is not everything, right? Money is not everything. Money does not buy happiness. Um, yes, it can give you a sense of security sometimes, right? But a lot of times that's a false sense of security because if you're not happy with yourself, that you're not going to be happy with the world around you or the people around you for that matter. So, uh, enjoy the first episode. There is actually a ton more following this. We're going to be releasing them weekly, so I'm very excited for that. And without further ado, let's get into it. God bless you guys. All right. All right. What is up, everybody? My name is Jake with the Key Exchange Podcast. We have a special guest, William Huffman, here. Will, you are out of Minnesota. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep. First tier suburb, Golden Valley, right next to Minneapolis there. Yep.
Okay. All right.
I'm actually in my office right now in Loring Park. So right here in Minneapolis. Love it.
All right. Nice. Now, you guys got a lot of snow right now or no?
You know, we've had this weird warm up where it's getting like 35, 40 degrees during the day and then dropping down to 0, 10 degrees at night.
Yeah.
So get this thaw freeze. And yeah, we're Minnesotans. We kind of, at least I like the weather. I like the four seasons. I like the four seasons hotel, but I also like the four seasons of the year. So it's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, no, no, for sure. No, that's kind of here in Michigan, we're close, right? Kind of in terms of weather. I think you guys get a lot more snow than we do, though,
Yeah,
to
we
be
typically do.
honest.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
we're locally here in the cities, we got 12 to 14 inches of ice. So we're out driving our vehicles on the ice fishing and stuff like that. So,
yeah, no,
yeah,
for
usually get
sure.
a decent amount of snow. Not too much. Sure. Well, not as much as we used to, but here nor there.
Yeah, no, no, for sure, for sure. But yeah, man. So I know we were just talking about this before, before we hit record here, but yeah, we met at a Glover U event a couple of years back,
Yeah.
and I remember you had a really awesome story that you gave me super briefly, like because of time constraints and stuff, and thousands of people at that event, um. But yeah, no, I just remember you had a great story, and I was like, man, this is somebody I definitely love to have on this to kind of speak to that a little bit.
Appreciate
So
that.
I mean, if you don't mind, jump right into it. You've been in real estate now for how long?
Yeah. Well, first, kudos to you for going to an event like that,
Yeah,
because that just shows that you have the drive and the want for personal development and skill development, and
I
going to something
appreciate
like
that.
that just shows that commitment. So that's kudos to you. And then also the gumption to just walk up to random people and strike up a conversation. Like that's not something anybody or everybody can do, and you did that, and then you stuck with it. So here we are 2 years later,
Yeah,
and you're really making a go of it. So good on you.
yeah, I
So
appreciate that, man.
and yeah, man, and then you're doing this. So this is cool. This just shows that you want to continue to improve the community, improve yourself, and keep giving back is what it's all about. So yeah, I mean, I've been in business for 11 years. A couple times there where I almost didn't make it. Um, so I started off on a team, and I worked with a local team. The two of them, Michael and Brandon Doyle, they're still very good friends of mine. Michael, I consider a very strong mentor of mine,
Hmm.
and I was there for about a year and a half, and I paid for my master's degree in real estate, right? Because Michael been doing it for 20 years, and it's like just taught me a lot that he knew. And then after a short year and a half in the business, I knew it all, so I decided to start a team.
Yeah.
That was a really horrible idea, but I did. I started a team. I had a business partner, excuse me, at the time. And I do have to say that partnerships with people that are not your spouse tend to crash and burn. I've coached
Oh,
dozens and dozens of agents, hundreds of agents across the country. And every time they say, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a partnership," and I'm like, "Is it with your partner? Is it with your spouse? Is it with like the person you're going to live the rest of your life with?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "I probably wouldn't do it." But here nor there, and then they tend to crash and burn.
yeah.
So that ours crashed and burned, and that was about 8.5, 9 years ago. And then my wife and I started our team that we have now, and we've grown big, we've gotten small, and we've decided that a team just isn't for us. So now it's just my wife and I. We do have one other full-time agent, and then we have a support staff. So I mean, if last year Sarah and I did 59 units for 24 million personally,
Nice.
and our team did about 100 units for about 40 million. So that's kind of where we're at in the realm of real estate. So I don't know where I could ramble for hours, my man. So you're gonna have to
Oh
take
yeah,
the you're gonna have to take the leash and kind of
yeah.
steer me.
No,
Otherwise,
no,
I'm
for
just gonna
sure,
keep
for
going.
sure. Well, no, no. I mean that's awesome because I know when we first met, you kind of being a newbie in the business. I remember you threw a crazy GCI number out there,
Yeah.
and I was like, dude, what like where do you? He must live in California or something, like,
No.
and then you were like, yeah, Minnesota,
Yeah.
and um, and I was like, I remember asking you how, and
Yeah.
you really told me kind of about the humble beginnings,
Yeah.
so I guess let's start there.
Yeah.
Where did you uh what made you get into real estate to begin with? Because
Okay.
I know real estate, a lot of people get into it, myself included. I know personally for me it was I like to talk to people, and I was like, oh, I think it was Ryan Serhant or something on HGTV, and I was like, I could do that, maybe, right? Let's do it, and it's a very unique industry to kind of jump into and especially stick with and succeed in.
Yeah,
So
so I never had plans to get into real estate. Honestly, like I truly mean this, and let me finish this whole little story before anybody passes too much judgment. Um, I'm not necessarily a people person. I don't love hanging out with people. I like hanging out with my people, but
yeah,
I don't really like to go out and meet new people. Also, I don't really let me finish. I don't really care about houses. What I do care about is customer service. What really drives me is helping other people win. So I've been in sales one way or another since I've been 18 years old, if not a little bit younger. I mean, I've sold shoes, window roofing and siding, lawn care equipment, cell phones. I mean, if you name something that can be sold, I have sold it. So 11 years ago, my wife and I were looking, well, my fiance at the time, we were getting married in a week. We were out looking for our own home. And in 2015, we were looking at about a three to $500,000 home. And that's not chump change. That's a lot of money. I don't care who
hmm
you are. That is a lot of money, right? And I owned a landscaping company at the time. And I went to 47 open houses in 2 weekends as an unrepresented buyer. I went to Zillow and I had routing software because of my landscaping company. And I punched in all these addresses and I created a route like before showing time and book a
oh
showing.
my
So I didn't
gosh,
have all that. Um, and I went to the first weekend, my wife was at one of her bachelorette parties in like Nashville or something like that. And
hmm
then the second one, she was back home. And that Sunday, I took her to my top 10 favorite. And we went into this one open house, and I'm going to keep this vague because this agent is still in the business. Interestingly, but we walked into this open house and we toured it, and they said, "Hey, so what do you think about the house?" And I said, "Well, there's two answers to that question. One, the polite answer, just because you're asking to be nice, or two, the real answer, and I hope you're prepared for it." And Sarah just looked at me like, "Oh Lord, please don't choose number two, please."
hmm
He goes, "No, I really want to know." So, do you have a few minutes? So, I walked him through the property, pointing out a bunch of deficiencies, and I'll skip ahead, but let me say we just were not impressed. Okay.
yeah,
And as we're walking out of that open house, as Sarah's dragging me out of the open house, we're getting married that next weekend. And then the following weekend, we're going to Chicago for a little mini honeymoon type thing. And she goes, we get back from Chicago, you're going to get into real estate. And I said, yes, ma'am. So
oh
that's it. That's how I got into real estate because she just knew that the level of service that we could provide would be superior to what we had experienced in those 47 open houses that I went to. When I went into these open houses, people were eating food. And I get that you have to eat, right? But when a client walks in or a potential client walks in, you put the food down and you pay attention. You say, "I'm sorry,
hmm
just grabbing a quick bite to eat here. Welcome to my open house. What brought you in? Was it my signs? Was it your agent or was it the internet?" Right? Um, we had people painting their fingernails. More importantly, removing fingernail polish with that acetone and
oh
it just
no,
sucked up the entire house. Yeah. Um, one person didn't get off the couch because golf was on. I get it. I like my sports too, but like I'm like, this is somebody's largest asset, and the level of service I was being shown was horrendous.
yeah,
So I went and got my real estate license. My first year in real estate, I sold 13 homes. I spent $47,000. I made $42,000. So don't do that.
all right,
Yeah. And then from there, it just kind of kept going up. 100,000 GCI, 150,000 GCI, 300, 350, 575, 5, then like six. And I've been in that 900,000 GCI range the last 2-3 years here, except in 2024. Yeah, 2024 went from about just under a million GCI to almost just under, excuse me, just over a million, just under a million
hmm
GCI to just under 700,000. Kind of got our butt kicked that year a little bit.
yeah.
But then bounced back the next year later and almost a million again. So I hope that answers your question a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, for sure. No, it absolutely does. And I will say, so for me, I think I kind of got lucky, right? Just because that whole, being able to get into the Glover U, uh, uh, into like
Jake, I'm
community.
gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you because on your own Facebook, your little tagline said, "Luck
Oh, there,
happens when opportunity meets preparation."
There we
Like,
go. Yeah. Yeah.
like you were ready for that opportunity, man, and you took it by
Yeah.
the horns. So,
Yeah.
but I
No,
understand what
no.
you're saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off.
yeah. Oh no, no, I appreciate you reminding me about that. But yeah, no, no, I just remember getting plugged in, and I remember seeing, because you're one of the first people I connected with outside of Glover, and was like, oh, let me add this person on Facebook, and I remember seeing, to kind of tie it into the story that you just gave of how you got into seeing how at what high, like at what level you guys were doing things,
Mhm.
not just oh, I'm gonna throw some signs in the yard and just kind of chill here. I remember there was one agent I spoke with, and I'm not going to name names, but when I was first getting into it, interviewing people and um, our brokers at least, and the broker was like, oh, well, when you show houses or you do open houses with buyers, I usually just tell them like, hey, you know how a house looks, just take a look and let me know what you think, and he'd chill out downstairs, and I was like, I do not want to do that. And seeing the level that you guys put into your open houses, your business, I like honestly, man, it set the bar super high. To where like even in my own business, I'm like, how can I be more like these people?
I
So
appreciate that,
so
brother.
yeah,
Well, I mean, you learn that from mistakes, right? Like you can have the best intentions in the world, but if you don't have the proper actions, intentions don't mean anything. So if I have the intention of providing the best service and providing the best value, or at least the best to my ability or in my world or what my definition is for me, I have to have the proper actions behind it. And to use open house as an example, you'll have a lot of agents out there saying they're a waste of time. All they do is it's only for the agent, it's not for the seller. Well, we actually have I do believe I just redid the math, like 67%, 67, huh? 67%. I know, sorry. 67 or 68% of all the buyers of our listings, their initial contact is with the open house. It doesn't mean we double on the deal. It doesn't mean we hog it. It just means we have an open house. They didn't want to bug their agent. They came to the open house. I had a chance to talk with them and sell the property, and then they went back to their agent and then came back through it. So it's almost 3/4 of all of our listings we sell, and we actually get an opportunity to meet the purchaser before their agent even shows the property. How
yeah.
is that not a massive advantage for me and the seller?
And
So
knowing at least what to look for, what to expect, yeah, where to kind of navigate that. And I will say, I remember watching a video that you did. I think it was with Devante,
oh yeah, yep.
probably last year, about open houses, kind of how you do them.
Mhm.
And I started following that in terms of circle prospecting the entire
Yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah.
And I went from having like maybe two people, if I was lucky at an open house, to, hey, I'd send out a personalized video message like, hey, I'm hosting an open house at 123 Banana Street. I just wanted to personally invite you guys out. Feel free to come by, take a look. And XYZ is going to be, what we're going to have. And yeah, we'd love to have you. And so it went from like maybe two or three people to like 12 to 14 people, which for
Absolutely.
an open house is pretty,
That's amazing.
that's good,
That's
so
amazing. When you take the proper actions, you can create predictability.
yeah,
You can create the outcome you're looking for with enough action, and you're doing that. So I mean, that's
yeah,
super cool, man. Thank you for sharing that. I
yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
that.
for sure. Well, yeah, your stuff is working, right?
Yeah, yeah.
um, but so obviously you have this really, you have a lot of drive to
Mhm.
to to do things at a high level. And it sounds like not just in real estate, but in other businesses that you've done. Where do you think that stems from?
So I think maybe in your intake form, I told you a little bit about this. Growing up, we were incredibly poor. I mean, dirt poor. By the time I was 13 years old, I had gone to like 15 or 16 different schools, lived in two or
Mm,
three different states, lived in 23 different houses. I didn't go to school one year because my mom couldn't make me. I wasn't a very good kid. We were homeless for about a year, year and a half, and you didn't know where your next meal was coming from. You didn't know where you were going to sleep that night. We would sleep in the truck or we'd sleep in the horse trailer. And you know adversity creates character. And my story isn't special. There are thousands of people who are going through some stuff right now, right? And have been and will be going through it. But my story is unique to me. I was the one who got to live it, who had to live it, and who learned those lessons through uh whew,
Yeah.
through a lot of that hardship.
Yeah. No, for
And
sure.
and when you've been there, you never want to go back. And when you have
Yeah.
people look at you a certain way because of how you look, or maybe how you smell because you haven't showered, or you haven't ate, and when you have people treat you a certain way, you learn real quick how you don't ever want to treat other people.
Hmm.
So, sorry. So
Yeah.
when you
No,
get in,
you're all good.
yeah, so when you get in a position to where you can have positive impact in people's lives, that's all you want to do. That's all you want to do. You don't ever want to go back to where you were, but you don't want to forget. You don't want to forget those beginnings, because that's who made you who you are. That can either make you or break you. And like I'm not a religious person. I'm a person of I have faith in spiritual, but I wouldn't here nor there, right? My wife is very religious. And
Yeah.
she would call it a God moment. I'd call it a universe moment, whatever you want to call it. When those moments are put in your path, it's luck. It's that opportunity meets preparation. And I've been able to be prepared enough to, when these doors even creak open or kick the sons of biscuits in, and I'm going through those doors,
Hmm.
when I have those opportunities available for me, I'm ready for them. But to answer your question, long story longer, is I don't want to go back to where I was, but I don't want to forget who I was, because that's who I am. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. And just I can relate to that a little bit. And that's why I was like, man, I relate with this guy, a little bit on that level. Um, but yeah, no, you don't want to burn, you don't want to forget, but you also want to burn the ships. You,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Hey,
absolutely.
I'm not ever going
Absolutely.
back to that life. And if you don't mind, I know you said you're not a man of faith. I'm not trying to preach at you, but
Yeah.
there's this Bible verse that
Mhm.
I really love. That one of my favorite Bible verses. I'll share with you.
Yes, please.
Just in terms of like getting you from preparing you, right? And
Mhm.
it's uh, Jeremiah 12 through 13. It's like, hey, it's called Jeremiah's complaint and God's answer. And Jeremiah's complaining to God. He's like, God, why is the way of the wicked prosper? Why do their evil ways prevail? But me, your good and faithful servant, I feel like a lamb led to the slaughter. And
Mm.
basically asking the question that we all ask at some point in our life, whether
Yeah.
you poor, rich, because everybody goes through their own thing. Is God, why am I trying to do the right things here? But yet, I want to say he lived in a cave. He's like, man,
Mhm.
I'm living in a cave and I'm being fed by a bird or something, and
Yeah.
yet all these people that are doing bad by me and by you are prosperous. What's going on? And God tells him, He says, if you've raced with men on foot but stumble, how then will you ever compete with horses?
Mm.
Right? Right? Yeah, yeah. And I love
Yeah.
that because yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
that's good.
exactly.
That's good. I love that.
And
Thank you for sharing that.
that yeah, and that's just one of my favorite because it kind of speaks to no matter where you're at in your life or what you've gone through, that God's trying to take you so much further than the people that you look at maybe with jealousy or envy,
Yeah.
than they ever could go in term, not just financially either, right? I think that's where a lot of people get confused is financial is good, but like I think and I see that in you, just so you know, is uh like just so much joy, right? Like, and that's more wealth than money could ever buy,
Preach,
so
brother. It's
yeah.
my aunt Robin, who's also in real estate, she taught me a lesson several years ago that took me many years to actually understand. And when you don't have money for gas or for groceries, you think money will solve all your problems. And she told me something. She goes, Willie, because she calls me Willie because she's known me my entire life.
Yeah.
She goes, Willie, real problems can't be solved by money. And I'm like, Screw you, lady. What are you talking? I know how much you're doing. You're over there balling, living life, boom, like, living large. And it took me a couple years to really understand what she was talking about when my grandma passed away. It really struck me. No amount of money in the world is going to solve that. And that's a lesson I just learned 3-4 years ago. And so when you're talking about people go to financial and the jealousy, like, yeah, that's true. That's real. Like if you need food, you need groceries, you need shelter, money is important. But another mentor of mine, Matthew Sutter, always said, money is a motivator until you have it. And then once you have it, what's your motivation? If you're a mean cuss broke, you're going to be a mean cuss with money. If you're a happy person when you're broke, you're going to be a joyous person when you have money.
Yeah.
So I just love the message that you're saying there, and I really appreciate you sharing that, brother. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And speaking of joy, because I genuinely mean this, because I see your stuff pop up on my Facebook feed and everything, and I'm always like, man, he's always so like happy. It just seems and I remember that was kind of like the impact I got from you when we first met. I was like, man, because you ever meet the people that you meet and you're like, man, they got something on them, right? Like they're super happy, or they have this joy thing, or it seems
Mhm.
like they have the life thing kind of figured out, at least with the joy level, and that's something I saw in you, and I was like, man,
Thank you.
what makes you so like what keeps you so joyful?
Yeah.
Because life obviously has its roller coaster moments, right? Like that
Yes.
that doesn't escape any of us, whether you're rich, poor,
Mhm.
wherever you're at in life, it has its roller coaster moments. So what keeps you joyful throughout all that?
You kind of nailed it in a couple things you said there. One, I don't have life figured out by any means. No, sirree. I could be gone from this earth right now. The sun is still going to set and it's still going to rise,
Yeah.
with or without me on it. So there are so many things I cannot control in this world. I cannot control the stock market. I cannot control the weather. I cannot control the other drivers on the road. There are so many uncontrollables in this world, and there's so few things that we can actually control. And that's one of them is, for the most part, our attitude. I really censor what I allow into in my life. Now, just follow me on this. I am probably one of the most selfish people you will ever meet. And I truly mean that. And here's the reason I can say that, and I say it with a straight face, is because I always make sure I take care of myself first, because I want to show up for everybody else so damn hard.
Mm,
And if I don't take
that's
care of
good.
me, if I don't have water, if I'm thirsty, how can I go get more water if I can't even drink myself? How can I take care of people at the high level? How can I provide the service that I provide if my batteries are drained? So
Yeah.
I am really good at protecting my time, and I'm really good. When I say really good, I'm like a master level at protecting my time and a master level of protecting the inputs I bring into my life. I don't watch scary movies. It's just not my thing. I don't watch sad movies. If the dog dies in the movie, I am not watching it. I Google the end of a show before I watch it. That's if
Oh
I'm
my
going to watch
gosh.
something. Absolutely. I don't need to bring exterior sadness into my life when I see homeless people driving to work every single day. I don't need to bring extra sadness into my life when there's atrocities happening across the world, right?
Hmm.
So I really do not, I don't consume the news. Doesn't mean I'm uneducated. I don't watch any of your mainstream media that you make, CNN, Fox, CNSBC, like New York Journal, whatever they are, right? I don't consume any of that. Um, doesn't mean I'm ignorant to what's going on in the world. I am informed, but I have to take care of myself first so I can take care of my world as good as possible. And I'm not as trying to quote the scripture here because I don't know it word for word, but I was at a sermon not too long ago at service, and then the pastor was up there talking about, you have to take care of yourself so you can take care of your spouse, so you can take care of your house, so you can take care of your neighbors, so you can take care of your street, so that you can take care of your city, so then you can take care of your state and then your country. But it all starts at home.
Yeah.
So, How am I so joyful? Like, listen, I'm not perfect by any means. I do have my moments, but I would say a majority of the time, I am a very happy person. I live a blessed life. I don't care how many zeros or negatives are in my bank account. I'm still going to be happy. I'm alive. I have people that love me. I have people that I love. I choose to really filter. Oh, lost your video.
Oh, oh, there we go. Okay.
There we go.
All right, we're back. Yeah.
Yep, I really
Sorry.
choose to filter what I allow to come into my life, and I'm very protective of who I allow in my life. My board of directors for my life is pretty solid, and what I mean by that is, I have a board of directors in my life for different things in my world. So if I want to talk business, I have a specific group of people that I will go to them to talk about business. If I want to talk sports, I have a specific group of people that I'll go to them and talk to sports. If I want to talk fishing, I have a certain group of people that are my board of directors for fishing and stuff like that. If I am having a rough day, which everybody has, I have a certain board of directors, a group of people that I know, like, and trust and love that I can go and talk to them. So it's not doing it on my own. It's having the support around me that I need. And it's just being very cautious of what I allow into my life.
Nice. No,
Hopefully that
no,
answers your question.
no, for sure. Absolutely. And that's what I've heard, the keeping negativity out of your life in terms of like, okay, I don't want to surround myself with negative people, uh, or negative situations, and kind of like the news thing you mentioned. I know, for me, it was the COVID time, right? Not to get into
Yeah.
that, because
Yeah.
I don't like getting into politics on this stuff, but um, what I will say to that though is that whole thing, because it was the news every day, was
Yep.
just death, war, like all this stuff is going
Yep.
on. And I remember probably like 4 or 5 months into it, I was like, this is like, I feel so terrible. What is going on?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? It's probably the fact that I'm watching the news every single day,
Echo
seeing
chamber.
all this negativity, and we made a decision, me and my soon-to-be wife. We were like, you know what, we're not gonna watch the news anymore. So we gosh, I haven't watched the news in probably like 5 years now.
Yeah.
um,
For real.
but yeah, no, man, that I love that answer. Jim Rohn has this quote. He says, "I don't take care of me, and I will take care of you. Take care of it goes something along the lines of, I will take care of me, so I can better take care of you,
Yes.
and you take care of you so you can better take care of me,
Yes.
right? Because I think, like you said, it starts when with yourself. If you're not happy
Mm-hmm.
with yourself, you're not going to be happy with the world. So
Yeah.
no, man, I love that answer. And so kind of going past the joy, right? Um, what what has been one of the hardest moments for you that you've overcome, and kind of like that victory cry moment or Braveheart
Mm-hmm.
moment, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
for you, where you've overcome a situation, whether it was real estate or just in life, and kind of uh, you broke through that fourth wall, you
Yeah.
know. Uh,
Yeah, well, I'll take it non-business related. When I was in my early 20s, I was not a good student. I was not a good kid. I got in a lot of fights. I was never rude or disrespectful, but I was always a fat kid. And for a long time, I had a lot of anger with that. I wasn't comfortable with who I was. And then I grew tall, and now I was the fat kid who could beat people up. And I did. I got in a lot of fights. I was kicked out of the regular high school, went to the alternative high school, which I think probably saved my life. But then I got into drugs and was doing a lot of stupid stuff. And just one day, I made some really bad decisions the night before. Some really bad decisions. And I got up the next day, and I don't know what happened. I just had this moment of clarity. I'm just like, yo, like, if I do that again, I could be going to prison for like the rest of my life. Like, that
yeah,
was really bad. And I had some illegal narcotics on me. I had a bunch of them, actually. and I flushed them down the toilet, and that's the last time I touched it. I'm just like, this is it. I have to choose how the rest of my life is going to go. I can either go to prison with my buddy over there, or I can not go to prison and not do that whole thing. Like
No, yeah,
that,
for sure.
that's the path I was going down. And um I made the right choice, because when I look back now to those people 24, 25 years ago, I think they're all either dead or in prison. Like, I literally don't
Yeah.
know one person from my past back then who is alive and walking around free and doing well. So, um, that was a, like, I don't know, statute of limitations on a lot of stuff. I'm
Yeah.
sure we're
I was gonna
past,
say, don't
yeah,
admit anything
yeah,
on here,
yeah.
you know.
I'm sure we're past a lot of it now.
Yeah.
But no, that was a real moment in my life where I was making a lot of money doing really bad things. Luckily I never hurt anybody, and I never did anything that I couldn't come back from. And I don't know what gave me that, but I saw myself going down a path, and I saw myself being somebody that I didn't want to be just because I wanted money. And I'm like, that's just, I don't know, that's just not what I wanted to do. So I was able to get away from that. So
Yeah.
that was a very pivotal part in my early 20s. And then not as serious that sense, but in serious as a business sense. In 2019, we almost lost our house to foreclosure. We had a legal battle come up. So in Minnesota, we have the Department of Commerce, and they hold our
Hmm.
real estate license. And if there's a complaint against you, it goes to the Department of Commerce. And the Department of Commerce is the judge, jury, and the executioner. So we had to hire a lawyer to defend us in this Department of Commerce case that we were obviously proved innocent. There was nothing ever came of it, but it cost us all of our money that we had in savings at the time. Because I'm not a saver, I'm a spender. I'm not a saver. I love spending money. I love giving away things. I love buying things. And we were 3 days from our house going to sheriff's auction. And luckily we were able to borrow $10,000 from somebody, $20,000 from somebody. Not a lot of people have that ability in their life, but we were blessed to be able to put our ego aside, go on our hands and knees, and we were able to borrow $20,000 from somebody. We had them paid back in 60 days.
Oh wow.
And I mean, there's no bigger motivator, in my opinion, than owing somebody something. I don't like to owe people things. I don't ever want to feel that indebtedness to somebody, financially, like literally financially. And but yeah, we were 3 days away from our house literally being sold at sheriff's sale. And we made a decision at that point in time to listen. Are we going to do this? Is this our career? Is this our business? Is this our life? Are we gonna live to work? Or are we gonna build a business that supports our life?
Yeah.
And it's still a struggle all the time, right? It's still a struggle. We want to become we I don't want to use the word, we become a servant to our business, right?
Yeah.
We want to answer the phone. We want to take care of the people. We want to give the best clientele customer service ever. Or you can take care of yourself first, build a business that supports your life. So I went down a couple rabbit holes there, as always. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, no, for sure. No, no, it absolutely does. No, and I love those stories. And that's kind of what this is. I kind of told you before we started this is I know personally I love hearing these stories of moments that people overcome. Because it's such a unique story, and I think everybody has a unique story to tell.
Absolutely.
Everybody comes through different walks of life. I know personally, especially the beginning there, that's something I can relate to. I used to be in a rock band, and right out of high school, actually dropped out of high school to join a rock band.
Nice.
Yeah, don't recommend doing that to people.
Kids, don't try this at
Yeah,
home.
don't do that. And I was really heavy into drugs and all that as well, and kind of living that life. And didn't care. I was like, oh, playing music and doing this. This is fun. And I know for me it was. I found out I was going to be a dad, and I
Oh
was
wow.
like, yeah, yeah. And I just kind of was like, okay, I have two very different paths I can go on right now. I can either
Yep.
go down this road, and or I can go down this one. And kind of like you mentioned, I can relate to that in terms of I know for me it wasn't like there was like yeah, there was a aha moment or light bulb kind of,
Yep.
but it was just kind of more of I'm not doing this.
Right.
And that was, and the door just shut and it never opened up again, and that was kind of it. There was no like, oh, this is, I got to fight. And, it was like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, that's done. It's done, and it is what it is. So yeah, no, that's awesome though, man. Uh, for, your business here,
Mhm.
in terms of the real estate thing, you do a lot of coaching, right?
Yeah.
I see. I remember you mentioned that you were like a Glover U coach.
Yep.
What pushes you to serve those around you to that level?
Yeah.
To want to see other people win.
Yep. Great question. And my wife and I have discussions about this quite frequently. Um, so my wife is very competitive. She always wants to win. She always wants to win. I am actually not competitive, but I want my team to win. I don't care if I win alone. That doesn't make me feel good, right? Like I don't like solo sports. I don't play video games alone. Like if you're a gamer at all and you've ever played Skyrim, Skyrim's a one
Hmm.
person game, right? But I will sit there with my buddy and play for days and days and days, going back and forth, watching each other play because we're doing it together. I like to see other people win. That really drives me. That really motivates me. So, say if we're playing football, right? And I played nose guard. If I got 3 sacks in a game, but we lost, who cares? That doesn't motivate me. And if I sat on the bench the entire time, but our team won, that motivates me. So, seeing other people win really excites me because I know I'm going to be okay. I know if the zombie apocalypse happens tomorrow or real estate goes away or whatever it is, no matter what happens, I know I've been through enough stuff that I just have the mentality that I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And not everybody's blessed with that ignorance or with that, that self-worth, right?
yeah,
Like I said, it can be considered ignorance or self-worth, cockiness, whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
right?
Well, the ignorance is bliss, but sometimes that's a blessing, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I don't I am not a very smart person, but I'm not dumb. Knowledge is one of my personal core values. I just know that if something happens, I will figure it out. I
Yeah.
mean, the worst that can happen is I die. And then
No, for
guess
sure.
what? It's no longer my problem. Like I'm not trying to be weird or anything, right? You know, but if I can help other people win, that really that just makes me feel really good. And Zig Ziglar said, if to get what you want, just help enough other people get what they want. You
Mm.
know, so if 200 people want to buy homes and I help them buy homes, well, that'll get me what I want. If I help 200 other agents do more business, well, they're gonna do more business and probably send me referrals because now they're
Yeah.
doing more business and that gives them more at bats. So, long answer longer. I really love helping other people win. I'm not a solo sport type guy. I am a team sport type guy. And real estate can be very isolating if you choose to be a solo agent, if you choose to be a solopreneur.
Yeah. No,
That's
for
why
sure.
connecting with communities is so important.
No, yeah, no, and that's there's this quote I love. I'm gonna totally butcher it, but goes something along the lines of when searching for the main for your purpose in life, uh, when you learn to serve others, you will find it. You know,
Mhm.
um, because in service, you can't serve obviously, yeah, I know that's kind of contradicting to some of the ideologies and stuff, but when you learn to serve other people, though, you kind of find the joy and
Yes.
yeah,
Mhm.
the oomph of life.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man, no, I did want to ask too, because I know we got to wrap up here soon, but
You take your
I
time, brother. I got you
yeah,
blocked out for another hour if you need it.
all right.
Yeah, for
Um,
real.
for for oh man, sorry, I got my kids in the back. I
Oh,
heard a
you're good.
big thud. I'm like, oh man. uh
Well, that's real life,
Uh,
man. You're a dad. You got kids running around. I've been like writing notes down and checking my phone because,
yeah,
like
yeah,
this brings us joy, and we love doing this type of things. But we still have lives to live, and that's one of the greatest blessings that you can have when you really go all in on a career like this. People say it's for the freedom. Yeah, yes and no. People say it's to
yeah,
control your own schedule. Well, it can get there, right? But it does allow you to connect with people like you. Where what I love. What about love when hanging out with my real estate friends is if we're standing around, we're at dinner, I can answer my phone and walk away, and nobody flinches
yeah,
because they're like
yeah,
they're working, right? Now my friends have learned that as well. But I've also got to the point in my career now where I can take this if it's really important to me, and I can leave this in the car, which is super cool. So,
yeah.
sorry, I
No,
derailed you
no,
there. I derailed you
no,
for that.
no, no, for sure. No, no, you're all good. No, man, that is one thing I love about this business is, for me, I know for me, a big part of it was not so much, the quote unquote freedom. All right. And I'm sure you know this, like in real estate, you actually end up working more hours than you do a regular job.
Yep.
But I know for me, it was for my son, right? We had like he had when he was younger, he had some like medical, nothing crazy or anything like that,
Mhm.
but just some like a short period where we had to go to the doctors frequently for him, and um, and go up to Grand Rapids. I'm out of Michigan, like
Mhm.
Kalamazoo, Niles area, and we were driving a lot, and I remember asking my job like, "Hey, can I got to take off this day and this day and being told, oh well, you can't do that, and I was like, hmm. And I just remember I was like, man, I got to take care of my kid, I like we got to do this stuff. We only had one car at the time, so it was
Yep.
kind of, you know, uh, essential, right?
Mhm.
And I just remember thinking, I was like, man, I don't want to have somebody else kind of control what I can and can't do in my own life,
Mhm.
if in terms of like controlling what I can and can't do with the people I love, so that was a big thing for me. But for real estate, man, what I for a newer agent, right, or not even a newer agent, but just in general, right? What would you pinpoint like the number one key to your success? Like the number one thing that has pushed you past just kind of mediocrity
Mhm.
to a level of uh, I'm just gonna say it because I know you guys do everything at a high level to a level of excellence that you guys have achieved.
Thank you for that. I appreciate those kind words. Well, we didn't do it alone, that's for sure, brother. Like, this is this has been a lot of hard work that we've had to do, but we didn't pave the road that we're traveling. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and for a long time, I was trying to forge my own way. I was trying to
Mm,
chop my own way through the forest, and like, you don't know me. I can do this. I'm a badass. Like, I don't need any help. And you can do that for a while, and some people are built to maybe do that their entire lives, and bless them, good on them. um what really opened my eyes is when I started I was hearing people, but I wasn't really listening to people. Like, I heard my aunt say, if it's real problem can't be solved by money, right? But I didn't really listen to that for a couple years. And I had to really get out of my own way. I had to humble myself because I have a pretty big chip on my shoulder. And I was Glover U. I connected in Glover U hardcore in 2020, and that absolutely helped me accelerate my business because I was now in a room with people who were where I wanted to be, and they were looking
mm,
back and giving me a hand. They were giving me the roadmap. All I had to do was take the damn thing and listen to it and read it and do it. So once I realized that, once again, I'm not special, I'm unique, right? I have my unique experiences. I have my unique life. But if I disappear tomorrow, the sun's still going to rise and set. So I'm not special in that sense. And once I was able to open myself up to like, hey, I'm doing 300,000 in GCI. I want to do 500,000. Hey, who here is doing 5 or 6, 700,000 GCI and is willing to talk with me? You'd be amazed how many people would raise their hands and be like, what you need, God? I got you. I got you. All
yeah.
in, right? And then hey, I want to get to 1 million. Who's doing 1 million that wants to talk to me? All of a sudden you have millionaires raising their hand and you're just like, how did I get here? How am I sitting in a room with people who are grossing millions of dollars a year? Your camera went out.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. How am I sitting in a room here with people grossing and netting millions of dollars a year, and they're willing to raise their hand and just here it is. Here it is. So finding those right communities and finding those right places and opening yourself up to what they have to say and removing that, as Jeff says, that stinking thinking, removing that won't work for me. First is saying, how can that work for me? So it really is about, and now, I mean, like I literally have a billionaire's phone number in my phone right now, like a billionaire's.
That's insane.
Are you kidding? Like what? And I text them periodically because I don't want to abuse that relationship. But what do you think they say whenever I text them? Hey, I'm sorry to bug you. They're like, you're not bugging me. And I'm like, man, how cool is that? Like I'm texting with a billionaire. Like it's absolutely insane. And that's coming from living in a horse trailer in Clarksville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, yeah.
Part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, that's something I recently, myself, right? I just my background, went to a lot of different schools as well, and so never really rooted with anybody. You know what I mean? Where
Absolutely.
a lot of people, and I know you can relate to this based on what you said, but going from school to school to school, you never really build those roots with people to where it's a long-term friendship or relationship, and so I kind of just got used to isolating myself of like, okay, I'm just gonna do me, lone wolf, right? Those really cheesy Facebook quotes of like, like lone wolf pack or whatever, uh, and I kind of lived that. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do me. I don't need anybody. And over the past, I'd say probably 2 years, especially coming out of the Glover U community and just kind of seeing what was there as well. And somebody put it very well. They said you found your tribe is what you found, right? And
your high vibe
and I was
tribe,
like,
man.
yeah, and I was like, okay, that's a great way to put it. And it kind of forced me into this, like, okay, community is so important in terms of like growth, because without it, I mean, what's the point of success if you don't have anybody to share it with? Right.
Preach.
And that's kind of exactly, and yeah, so I know for me that was a big thing. I'm still learning, but it is community for sure. What would you say is one of the things that derails people in this business, and maybe just in life in general? I'm sure it can apply to both, but derails people from getting to that point or breaking through, to that level of and I know a lot of it comes down from like self-belief, or like self-doubt or something along that lines. But yeah, I'd love to hear your take on that.
I think clarity and fear. Fear will kill more dreams than failure ever will. It's one of my most favorite quotes on the planet. And clarity, getting clarity on what you want and why you want it. If you have clarity for you, child coming into the world, you're very clear on what is your next step, right? Or what your next right step is. What my wife and I always say is when we get stuck is we know we want to go from A to Z, right? We don't need to know what C, D, E, and F is. All we need to do is take the next right step. So that might just mean getting up in the morning. And then what's the next right step? Brushing my teeth. Then what's the next right step? Getting showered and dressed for the day. Then what's the next right step? Maybe at that point, you're so exhausted that now you need to go back to bed. Okay? Because maybe you're suffering from depression, or you're suffering from anxiety, or you just don't know what to do. Maybe the next right step is calling me, right? Maybe the next right step is calling you. Maybe the next right step is going to worship. It's having lack of clarity will really screw people up. And I'm gonna go down a little rabbit hole here. I am not money motivated, but I love spending money. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
when I ask people, hey, why do you get into real estate? If they don't say making money is one of their top 3 reasons, I'm gonna really question if they should be an entrepreneur. An
Yeah.
entrepreneur, we are a for-profit business. There's nothing wrong with making money. People say, but the root of money is the root of evil is money is the root of all evil. Well, no, for the love of money is the root of all evil.
I love
Which
that.
means which means if you love money just to love it, to hoard it, to be a miser, then yeah, you're an evil human being. Okay. But you can say I love pizza. Jen Cicero, I'm a badass at making money. Says, you can say I love pizza, you can say I love my car, you can say I love my wife, you can say I love my dog, but if you say I love money, all of a sudden you're demonized. Are you kidding me?
Mm.
Money is a tool. Money helps me help so many. I get to give away tens of thousands of dollars a year, to charities that I enjoy and love and trust. So
Yeah.
lack of clarity can really derail you. I wouldn't say there's one, there's hundreds of things, but don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And if you don't know how to find clarity, go into a room people have been doing this for a while and say, I need to make $50 for gas. Who can help me make $50? Who can give me the next right step? Who can
Yeah.
help me make $1,000 this month so I can pay my rent? Who can help me make $50,000 so I no longer have to work 2 jobs? Who can help me make $100,000 so I can retire my wife so she can stay home with the kids and I can provide for the family? Or I can retire my husband and he can stay home with the kids and I can provide for the family. The next right step, clarity, and fear. I think those 3 things are, in my opinion, some of the largest killers and distractors of anybody in any entrepreneurship business.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, and I love that you mentioned the money thing because that's actually something I've recently gotten out of mindset wise, where I went from especially growing up, didn't grow up super religious. Now I serve in my church and I play in my worship band and do all
Love
that,
that.
uh, but no, so for me though, growing up, especially in church, and it's a weird place to find it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But money is not, it's never explicitly said that money's evil, right? But
Correct.
it's definitely inferred that, like, hey, money's not good, you don't want money. But
Mm-hmm.
no one talks about how bad it is to be, like, how bad it is also to be poor. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How bad it is not to have money or not to have these things, um and again, it's not coming from a place of love for money. And I'm listening to this guy called Myron Golden.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've listened to him or not on YouTube, but awesome wisdom there. But he speaks on that of, like, hey, money, like you just said, money is a tool, and if
Yes.
you use it correctly, not only can you help yourself and your family and generations to come after you,
Yes.
but you can help so many more people around you with it. So yeah, I think it's just kind of killing that mindset of, like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you know, this is not, we don't want this to, like, okay, I do want this if my heart is in the right place for it.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. But no, clarity though, I love the clarity thing,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of people, it's fear, fear of success,
Mm-hmm.
fear of failure. Um, but clarity, I like that. That's one I don't think I've heard ever, or at least not in a long time. Is it's kind of having things figured out. What makes you um, have those things fit? What gives you the clarity? What
No,
what drives you? What drives William, right? Or Will?
yeah, no, William's fine. Williams, I know my personal core values. 4 or 5 years ago, I really dove into how to figure out my personal core values, and knowing what those are give me clarity on why I make decisions. Knowledge is a personal core value of mine. Justice is a personal core value of mine. Security is a personal core value of mine. So when I know what my personal core values are, it's very easy to decide what I'm going to do next and get crystal clear on those steps to get it done. So people I don't want to generalize here. When I've asked people their personal core values a lot lately, I get a look that you guys, you're just like, huh, what do you mean my personal core values? I'm not talking about your business core values, which most people have wrong. Um, I'm not talking about your mission or vision, which most people can't recite or understand. Like, I don't even like, honestly, my mission and vision for my business, I'm not aligned with because I don't know them by heart. And that's something that Sarah and I have been working on the last few months is we have to be able to figure that out. But when you know your personal core values and you can articulate them. So we were in Florida at a resort and I heard this guy screaming on the beach. And when it comes to fight, flight, or freeze, I don't have a freeze and I don't have a flight. I have a fight mode. That's just how nobody puts baby in a corner type thing. And justice being one of my other personal core value is if I hear something unjust happen, I don't freeze, I run towards it. So when I started running towards that person who was causing a ruckus at the beach, and Sarah's like, why did you do that? And I said, and I was able to explain my personal core value. And she knew that. She's like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So to get clarity on your life, you really need to understand who you are. I know it's a super big question and it's maybe never figure outable, but also you need to really get clear on your personal core values.
Okay. No, I love that. No, I think that's a big one is knowing what your core values are. Probably something I need to dive a little deeper on now that you're mentioning it, to be honest.
Yeah. Here's a little plug. I don't know if you've seen that. I've started a new company called meetingoftheminds.life. And and we talk about a lot of these things. And I'm going to be teaching a personal core values thing in there. You should join. I'll give you a free 90-day code. Just shoot me a DM. But your camera's gone again. There you go.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. But to anybody who ever hears this, if they want to join meetingoftheminds.life, there's a free 30-day code out there. It's called Silver 30. Join, punch that in there, join for 30 days, see if you like it. But we have book clubs. We talk about things like personal core values. We talk about the wheel of life. We talk about getting a clarity on our mission and vision and our business core values. Because it's not a one-on-one coaching company, my man. Like I love one-on-one coaching. But this is more, we talk a lot about mindset. We talk, there's a lot of spirituality in there. There's, my wife, like I said, my wife is religious. So there's that element in there. This is a place where all are welcome and there's no stinking thinking. And, we really just, there are people who are ahead of me in there and there are people who are behind me in there. So we're all climbing the mountain and trying to help everybody else get up. So.
All right, can you hear me, Will?
Yep.
All right, sorry. Yeah, I have no idea what happened there.
No, you're good.
But no, I saw your meeting of the minds. That is something I wanted to check out because you guys did your first, what was it? Your first like webinar type introduction thing.
Yeah.
I don't know the technical term for it.
Neither do we on this one.
Yeah, well, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard because you don't want it to sound like, okay, this is what it's corporate or it's we're boxing it into this kind of like this this podcast that I'm trying to kick off here is something more along the lines of like, we talk real estate, but it's just life, it's just life and life between people in this industry, kind of give that insider view. But yeah, man, no, so I'll definitely check that out. When do you guys do that?
There's a whole schedule. I can send it to you. It's a live community. Then we have lives every other week in certain levels, blah, blah, blah. But we'll talk offline about that. I don't want to bore the listeners with all that good stuff.
All right. Yeah, no, for sure. For sure, man. Well, yeah. For buyers and sellers, because, I did mention the real estate, but what's one thing you wish they knew? Like when going to look for a home or going to look for looking to sell or looking to buy, what's one thing that would just save you a lot of time, right? This is the raw, unfiltered, unscripted version of like, hey, what what do you wish that they just knew going into these things?
Oh man. Well, just because you have a real estate license doesn't mean you're a professional. I would start there. So basically all realtors are not created equal. You definitely want to, definitely need to do your homework on that. But I would say when going into purchasing a home, you really need to do a gut check on what you want versus what you need.
Yeah, for sure.
What I tell people is when you're buying your first home, hold on, I'm going to burp. Excuse me. What I tell people is when you're buying your first home, make a checklist of 10, 15, 20 things. And if you can get 40 to 50% of those things, you're doing great. When we're going to your second home, make a checklist of 10, 15, 20 different things. If we can get 70 to 75% of those things, you're doing really great. And when you're going into your third or forever home, make a checklist of 10 or 15 things, and we will get 100% of them.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's understanding your controllables versus your uncontrollables and really doing a gut check on what you want versus what you need. When you're selling, one thing I wish everybody understood is it may be your home, but it's just a house to somebody else. So we have to present the best product possible when we're presenting your home to potentially be somebody else's house. So, and understanding the difference of what those things mean. A home is where you live. A home is where you've raised a family, where you've had emotions, where you've had ups and downs, and there's blood on the walls, because little Johnny was jumping off the bed and hit his head. And, I said blood on the walls, and I'm like, I should probably explain that. There's marks on the door dashes when how kids have grown up, and, that's where you and your first girlfriend broke up. That's a home. But you're not selling a home. You're selling a house. And that is an incredibly emotionally thing to disconnect from. And that's why we're here.
Yeah. No, I love that. No, it's hard kind of trying to get, break through in terms of, hey, this is something, because there's the emotional attachment to it.
Absolutely.
And it's not telling somebody to discredit that or ignore that.
Correct.
But it's, hey, this is a sale. This is business. This is not, it's not it's a home, or it's a house to somebody, not a home.
Yep. And as realtors, we're here to maximize profit and mitigate risk.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, man. Well, I hate to cut it short. My phone is actually getting ready to die on me.
Oh, you're good, brother. You're good.
I'm like, oh no. But man, no, I'd love to have you on again in the future.
Man.
This was awesome. I really appreciate your time. Before I let you go, man, what's if you had one message to leave, right? We're going tomorrow and all that.
Yeah.
What is the message you're leaving to the world, or to the people listening, or whatnot?
Always give, never let people take.
Okay.
That's it's been a motto of mine pretty much my entire life. I will always give, but I will never let somebody take from me. So I think that's just kind of how I've lived my life.
I love that, man. Nah, and yeah, it kind of speaks to the serving others, right?
Absolutely.
Serve before taking. No, I like that. Well, Will, thank you again, man. And just so people know, what you guys are Minnesota?
Yep, Minnesota, Western Wisconsin. If you ever want to reach out, 651-278-2089. That's my direct cell phone number. Feel free to text, call. I'm a social media person, so you can DM me on Facebook. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just william@agoodlifegroup.com. So, but yeah, I appreciate you having me on, brother. This has been a fun conversation. The hours has flown by. So,
yeah, no, for sure.
So much.
Yeah, well, Will, I really appreciate it, man. And you guys, thank you again. God bless you. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Awesome.